This is the most accurate mechanical watch ever made. Over a whole day, it drifts by less than a third of a second. That is a staggering, almost unbelievable number for a machine made of springs and wheels. And the $10 quartz watch hanging by the till in a petrol station keeps far, far better time than it ever could. So, why would anyone pour years of genius into building this? Here's why. For 150 years, the finest watchmakers alive fought a secret war over a single question. One that turns out to have a real hard answer, written into the laws of physics. How accurate can a mechanical watch possibly get before nature simply says, enough? This is the story of that race, the wall they slammed into, and the one watch that walked straight through it. We've spent this series on the mechanical watch's cleverest tricks, the escapement, the shock protection, the chronograph. This is the one that ties them all together. Because everything, in the end, is in service of a single number: accuracy. So, 3 questions. 1. Why does making a watch's heart beat faster make it keep better time? 2. If faster is better, why not just beat it infinitely fast? What's the catch? And 3. How did one watch smash a limit that stood for 340 years? And why, in a way, does it not even matter? The principle: a steady heartbeat. Let's build this from zero. Every mechanical watch keeps time the same way. A little wheel, the balance swings back and forth at a fixed rhythm, governed by a fine coiled spring called the hairspring. That swinging is the watch's heartbeat, and everything else, the gears, the hands, simply obeys it. So here's the whole game. The watch's accuracy is nothing more than how identical each swing is to the last. A perfectly regular heartbeat is a perfectly accurate watch. A heartbeat that stumbles is a watch that drifts. Now, that heartbeat has enemies: a knock on the wrist, a change in position, gravity, temperature. Every one of them can nudge the balance and spoil a swing. And here's the insight that unlocks this whole video. The thing almost nobody explains properly. The faster the balance swings, the harder it is for any of those disturbances to knock it off its rhythm. Picture a spinning top. Spin it lazily and the smallest bump wobbles it and topples it over. But spin that same top hard, and it stands firm and shrugs the bump off completely. A fast-beating balance is the hard-spun top. Its own speed protects its rhythm. Beat faster, and the heartbeat becomes more stubborn, more regular, more accurate. That is the single most important idea in the history of watch accuracy. Speed by steadiness. Or think of a drummer. Tapping out a slow beat, a shove easily throws them off. Machine gunning at a furious tempo, they barely flinch. The sheer rate carries straight through the disturbance. So, the most accurate watch isn't simply the most expensive, best polished one. Beyond craftsmanship, there's a physical lever you can pull: frequency. And, as we'll see, a physical wall that stops you. And pulling that lever became an obsession. For a century, this had an arena: the observatory trials. From the first time in competition at Greenwich in 1766, through the great observatories, Neuchâtel, Geneva, Kew, the finest watchmakers in Europe fought for accuracy records in brutal tests lasting 30 to 50 days, far stricter than anything today. It was a genuine arms race. Zenith alone won 2,330 accuracy prizes, and the watches they built to win were monsters, uncased with cartoonishly huge balance wheels, hand-tuned by masters for months, sometimes years. Machines that bore no resemblance to anything you could ever buy. It was Formula One for time, and the whole race pointed in one direction: faster, steadier, more accurate. So if beating faster is the secret, why not just crank the frequency to the moon and be done with it? because every extra beat sends a bill, and the bill comes due fast. The lever, beat faster, keep better time. Let's put numbers on it. Frequency is measured in hertz, swings per second. A typical modern watch beats at 3 or 4 hertz. Push that higher, and exactly like the hard-spun top, the rhythm gets tougher to disturb. Better stability, finer timekeeping. The most famous example is Zenith's own El Primero from 1969. It beat at 5 hertz, 36,000 vibrations an hour, and everyone called it high beat. And a faster heart doesn't just keep steadier time, it slices time into finer pieces too. Because it beat so fast, the El Primero could time an event to 1/10 of a second, something slower watches simply couldn't do. Grand Seiko's high beat runs the same 5 hertz. For decades, that was the frontier. So faster is better on 2 counts, which raises the obvious question: why stop at 5? Why not 10 or 50 or 500? And that's where physics starts sending the bill. The cost, the wall. Here's the catch, and it's the heart of the whole story. Speed isn't free. Every swing of that balance loses a little energy, and the amount it loses climbs steeply as you beat faster. Double down on frequency, and the watch drinks through its mainspring far quicker. The power reserve collapses. The watch that used to run 3 days now barely runs 1, and it gets worse. More swings per second means more friction, faster wear on the tiny pivots, and the oil that lubricates it all aging and drying out sooner. If you saw the film on the coaxial escapement, you'll recognize this enemy, friction, and the oil it demands. Beat faster, and that whole problem multiplies. A high-beat watch runs hotter, hungrier, and wears itself out quicker. It needs servicing sooner, so you can't just keep cranking. For a traditional balance and hairspring made of metal, watchmakers hit a hard truth. Somewhere around 4 to 5 hertz is the ceiling of good sense. Go faster, and the costs, power, wear, servicing, swallow the accuracy you gained. A few brave houses pushed past it. Chopard reached 8 hertz, Breguet 10, but at real cost and in tiny numbers. That wall stood for centuries, as long as the heart was made of metal. And that's the loophole. The wall was never really about speed. It was about the metal, the mass of it, the friction of it, the oil it needs, the 30 fiddly parts of it. So, one watchmaker asked a heretical question. What if the heart wasn't metal at all? The breakthrough: delete the heart. In 2017, Zenith did something almost sacrilegious. They took the balance wheel and the hairspring, the beating heart of the mechanical watch, essentially unchanged since a Dutchman named Christian Huygens invented it around 1675, and they deleted it. 340 years of watchmaking, gone in one stroke. In its place, a single piece of silicon. Not 30 parts, one. A monolithic wafer of the same crystal they make computer chips from, etched into an intricate pattern of blades and springs, finer than a human hair, 0.5 millimeter thick, 1/10 of what it replaced. It flexes and oscillates as one single piece. No assembly, no adjustment, and, crucially, no lubrication at all. And because silicon is so light, so nearly frictionless, and can be shaped to microscopic perfection, it can do what no metal balance ever could. It beats at 15 hertz, 108,000 vibrations an hour, 3 times faster than the legendary El Primero. It walked straight through the wall. The result? Accuracy of 0.3 of a second a day. To put that in perspective, the gold standard for a certified chronometer, the mark of an excellent Swiss watch, allows up to 10 seconds a day. This is roughly 10 times better than excellent, and it holds that accuracy across 95% of its power reserve. And here's the detail that should genuinely astonish you. Even though it beats 3 times faster than the El Primero, that frictionless silicon is so efficient it runs longer, around 60 hours. It broke the energy wall and the accuracy wall at the same time. Oh, And because silicon simply doesn't care about magnetism, temperature, or gravity, it shrugs off all three. For 340 years, every attempt to make a watch more accurate meant beating a metal heart a little faster, until the energy and the wear slammed the door. Zenith didn't beat the door down. It walked through the wall by deciding the heart didn't need to be metal at all. The race that quartz already won. So, the most accurate mechanical watch ever made. There's just one small problem with that crown. That entire 150-year race, the observatories, the 2,000 prizes, the movements hand-tuned for years, was made pointless, almost overnight. In the late 1960s, a cheap quartz watch arrived, its little crystal buzzing 32,768 times a second. And it kept better time than the finest mechanical chronometer any master had ever built by hand. It wasn't close. The observatory trials wound down through the 1970s. The El Primero itself was nearly scrapped in the chaos. The whole reason mechanical accuracy had mattered, navigation, science, knowing the true time, quartz did it better, for pennies. So, when Zenith builds a watch like this today, chasing a third of a second a day, it is not doing it because we need the time. The phone in your pocket is thousands of times more accurate than the most accurate mechanical watch ever made. It's doing it as a feat, as art, as sport, as sheer glorious obsession. Somewhere along the way, the pursuit stopped being a means to an end and became the point itself, the honest asterisk. And let's be honest about that word, most accurate, because it's a marketing crown too. The first Defy Lab was a run of just 10 watches, everyone pre-sold before anyone could walk in and buy it, in an experimental case made of a foamed aluminium lighter than titanium. It wasn't really a product, it was a rolling science experiment, a flag planted at the frontier. And silicon has its own catches. It's brittle. A hard knock is a different kind of danger than it is for springy metal, and the technology is still young, still unproven over the decades that a fine mechanical watch is meant to last. It's more accurate. Whether it has more soul than 30 tiny dancing metal parts, that's the argument the whole hobby is still having. Connection and future. But that core idea, that a faster oscillation is a steadier oscillation, reaches into everything you own. Your phone, your laptop, every computer chip on Earth keeps time with a crystal vibrating tens of thousands, millions, even billions of times a second. For the exact same reason the hard-spun top beats the slow one. Speed buys stability. You are surrounded, right now, by millions of tiny oscillators. Every one of them winning the race the observatories started 2 centuries ago. And that red line trade-off, where more performance costs more energy and more wear, that's your car engine, it's a computer chip throttling under heat. It's even your own heart. As for the watch, silicon is quietly taking over. The hairsprings, inside modern Rolexes, Pateks, and Omegas, are already silicon. For exactly these gains. The old metal balance wheel is slowly ceding ground. But it will never fully die. Because here's the beautiful truth this whole series has been circling. The mechanical watch stopped being about accuracy a long time ago. Your phone won that fight decades back. What's left is something stranger and more human. A beautiful, defiant, gloriously unnecessary machine. So, the most accurate mechanical watch ever made, beaten by a $10 quartz. Why build it? Now you know. Not to tell the time that war was lost and won long ago. It was built to answer the question the observatories asked for 150 years. How far can we push this? A third of a second a day, 15 beats every second. 340 years of tradition, deleted and reborn as a sliver of silicon. It is the most accurate mechanical watch ever made. And it is completely, deliberately, magnificently unnecessary. And that is exactly the point. And notice, twice now, I've said silicon simply shrugs off magnetism, the invisible force that can stop an ordinary mechanical watch dead in seconds. Something you can't see, can't hear, and can't feel, quietly wrecking the most precise machine on your wrist. How it does that and how they finally beat it is a story for another day. So tell me in the comments, knowing a $10 quartz keeps better time, would you still want the most accurate mechanical watch ever made? Is the feat worth it? And which story do you want next? The invisible enemy, magnetism, or the watch that went to the moon? If this was worth your time, the subscribe button costs nothing and genuinely helps. There's a card on screen for the spring drive film, the other watch that chased quartz-like accuracy and got there down a completely different road. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.